Welcome to the BEASTwriter podcast. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we're going to be discussing the San Francisco 49ers trade for Jordan Willis. For those who don't know, Jordan Willis was traded by the New York Jets to the San Francisco 49ers in exchange of swapping late round picks, one in 21 and one in 2022. All right, so there's going to be three things I'll be talking about. One, who the heck is Jordan Willis? What exactly he brings to the table in SF, and why the trade made sense for both organizations. All right, so we're going to touch on those three things. Let's start with the background. Who is Jordan Willis? Well, Jordan Willis was a workout warrior at the Combine. He played at Kansas State. He was a sack master, double-digit sack artist. He had 11 and a half sacks, which tied for the school record. His senior year, or excuse me, not senior, his last year there, he was the 2016 Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12. So what he brings to the table, I think we're kind of getting there. He brings pass rush, guys. If you watched my latest YouTube podcast video on my game grades against the Rams, I talked about the non-existent pass rush, and that's obviously an issue. So with the 49ers making this trade, it kind of goes hand in hand. Like, there has to be some validity in my reporting there that, yeah, the pass rush has been lacking. They need an infusion of youth, maybe in a fountain of youth. Bring in Jordan Willis, who's on the last year of his contract. Maybe he can be a spark plug on the outside, setting the edge. All right. In addition to that, he was drafted by the Bengals and played for them from 2017 to 2019, then was waived and then claimed off waivers on 9/11 by the New York Jets. New York Jets had him from 2019 to, well, technically today, and now he was traded to the 49ers. All right. One thing that people aren't really looking into with Jordan Willis when you talk about him and if you're trying to break down the trade and analysis is people don't realize he was playing in a 3-point stance at Kansas State. He wasn't a 2-point stance standing edge rusher. But if you notice, Eric Armstead was lined up as a 2-point stance edge rusher in the game against the Rams, and the Niners do that a lot in their wide nine. So I'm thinking that he's going to be used in that role as a situational third down pass rusher. I don't really think he is going to be used much of a role other than that. So look for that to happen. But that's one thing to point out is mainly coming out of college, Jordan Willis was lined up as a 3-point stance edge rusher. All right. Aside from that, why the trade was made? Well, Quan Alexander has been dealing with a high ankle sprain. Again, if you kept up with me, I don't know if you guys follow me on social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram. I know you guys follow me in different outlets. I try to bunch everything together so, you guys can kind of put two and two together. But talking about Twitter, I went ahead and talked about the high ankle sprain. So high ankle sprains, there's different levels of severity with high ankle sprains. It affects the tibia and the fibula. The tibia is considered the shin bone. The fibula runs parallel on the outside outer of the calf. In between there, you have, basically in layman terms, the more pressure you put on it, if you have a high ankle sprain, the more the bones spread out. So depending on the severity, you may require surgery by putting a bolt in there to kind of keep them together. All right, so Quan Alexander is dealing with a high ankle sprain. That's not a good sign. He's been out for a couple games now, and doesn't look like he'll be activated this week. So I think the Niners had to make a move. They couldn't count on Azeez Al-Shaair as an outside linebacker because he doesn't bring much of pass rushing presence. So I think that's why they brought in Jordan Willis. All right. Now, why did the Jets make the trade? Well, if you remember, less than 24 hours, they traded nose tackle Steve McClendon, who's also in the contract year. And I think at this point, Adam Gase is just cleaning house or whatnot because they're getting rid of all their players, basically. I mean, you get rid of let Le'Veon Bell walk. You just traded your best nose tackle, Steve McClendon. And then you trade Jordan Willis. So they're kind of cleaning house. The writing's on the wall that their season is over. They're the worst team in the NFL. Something needs to be done. All right. So that's why I feel like the Jets made that trade. So instead of getting a 7th round pick, they opted to trade Jordan Willis because he probably wasn't going to be re-signed anyways. Bump that up to a 6th round pick the following year and get a little bit better draft position for the drafts to come. All right. So what does Willis bring to the table? As I said, he brings a pass rush. First and foremost, I think that's the only thing he brings to the table. I don't see him as a stout run defender, setting the edge, anything like that. I mainly think Saleh got him in to be a pass rusher, situational pass rusher, to help that pass rush out. Um, and with that being said, again, my game grades reflect that the pass rush has been non-existent with the 49ers over the course of the last few games. If you look at who is in there, aside from Kerry Hyder Jr., who's getting it done, I don't see anyone else really creating pressure up front, and that is concerning. I think it's concerning for the organization. I think it's concerning from the coaching staff because in that wide nine, you need to create pressure up front organically without bringing blitzes, without having K'Wan Williams, who is out, screaming off the edge or in the slot cornerback position. So these are things that you kind of have to account for. And when you're not getting it done, they're going to have to look elsewhere. And I think that's what you're seeing in San Francisco. So Jordan Willis, to me, is not on this scale because he was a third round pick, but he had a great Senior Bowl and a great combine. He had a 39-inch vertical, which is amazing. He's like jumping out of the gym. And then he ran a 4.53 40-yard dash. Both of those numbers were second among defensive linemen in that combine, in that draft. So when you take that into account, you look at the workout warrior numbers, you look at his production as a pass rusher, and there were people saying, why wasn't this guy drafted in the first round? Why would teams wait till the second to the third round to draft this guy? And the answer is, who knows, right? Maybe they think that the measurables are stacking up. But whatever the case may be, it's kind of similar to Mike Mamula, who was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles on a smaller scale. If you remember, Mike Mamula was drafted and solely he had a third round grade and he was bumped up to the first round because of his workout warrior numbers. It's just interesting how the combine works. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the combine, and I think they should because it's a gauge of pieces to a puzzle. When you have the NFL Combine, you have the Senior Bowl and the bowl games, and then you have the film study, then you have their character issues. All these, quote unquote, check the boxes. They all have to align, and you develop a grade based on those parameters of what you're looking for in the cultural dynamic of your team. All right, so that's pretty much it on Jordan Willis. I don't see a Pro Bowl player or anything like that, anything crazy. People are calling him a scrub. Like, who is this guy? I have no idea who this is. People are trying to Google search him. That's basically the rundown you're going to get from me. I'm not going to say he's going to be a double-digit sack artist, but I will say he does bring a pass rush presence. But mainly in college, he got his success lined up in a three-point stance on the defensive line, not as a standing outside edge rusher. So that's something to look forward to. I hope you feel that. What am I going to say? I hope he pans out. For you hopefuls and faithfuls, I hope he pans out. But at this point, something had to be done. John Lynch knew something had to be done as far as the pass rush. That's why they got him in. We're just gonna have to see how this plays out because odds are he'll probably be activated at some point during the season, especially if the pass rush continues to be non-existent. All right, that's it from me. I'm tired. I just came back from the gym, as you can see. So I'm just like rambling. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below if you like the content that I have to offer. I'll be doing fun giveaways for all you fans who do. That's it. I'm out. BEASTwriter. Peace.